It all started in January 2025, when Donald Trump returned to the presidency. Trump had made campaign promises that he would settle scores with those who had prosecuted him, and he was determined to keep that promise. Who was at the top of his target list? New York Attorney General Letitia James. James had successfully secured a $354 million judgment against Trump's business organization. For Trump, this was an unforgettable defeat. So how did Trump decide to get his revenge? By appointing his own person to the Eastern District of Virginia U.S. Attorney position. Who was this person? Lindsey Halligan, an insurance lawyer with zero federal prosecutorial experience. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Before Halligan, Eric Siebert held this position. Why did Siebert resign? Because he refused to bring charges against Letitia James. Trump couldn't accept this and fired Siebert. Now we're getting to the crux of the matter. Federal law is crystal clear. Interim U.S. attorneys can serve for a maximum of 120 days. Eric Siebert started in January, which means his term expired in May. So when did Trump appoint Lindsey Halligan? In September. There's a full 4-month gap. Is this legally possible? Absolutely not. But wait, the story gets even more absurd. Halligan, who brought charges against Letitia James, got into an argument with a journalist over the Signal app. A journalist named Anna Bauer shared a New York Times article about James on social media. Halligan couldn't stand it and wrote to Bauer, "You're spreading fake news." During this 33-hour messaging exchange, Halligan leaked grand jury information. Finally realizing the messages would be published, she tried to claim this conversation was off the record. Of course it didn't work. Now let's look at the legal dimension. James's lawyers followed a very clever strategy. They demanded dismissal of the entire case by proving Halligan's appointment was unconstitutional. How? The law 28 U.S.C. 546 is very clear. When the 120-day period expires, either a Senate-confirmed person is appointed or district judges make a temporary appointment. Trump's direct appointment is not legal. This isn't just James's problem. The same issue exists in James Comey's case. Two major Trump enemies found a way to escape their cases using the same legal loophole. Moreover, there's a 1986 memo written by Samuel Alito. This memo clearly states, when the 120-day period expires, a second interim appointment cannot be made. So even a Supreme Court justice appointed by Trump himself said this situation is illegal. Halligan isn't alone. Trump appointed Alina Habba to New Jersey and Sigel Chattah to Nevada. The same 120-day problem emerged everywhere. Federal judges found these appointments illegal. Trump's plan is clear. Make his own lawyers, federal prosecutors, to get revenge on his enemies. But the plan is collapsing due to legal loopholes. There's a critical hearing on November 11th. Both James and Comey's cases will go before the same judge. Federal Judge Cameron Curry from South Carolina will decide. What happens if Halligan's appointment is found illegal? All cases collapse, because someone illegally appointed cannot present to a grand jury or sign indictments. Trump is now in a difficult position. He'll either defend Halligan's appointment, which is impossible, or watch his entire revenge plan collapse. Moreover, this is just the beginning. If these cases are dismissed, everyone will understand that Trump used the justice system for his own purposes. Halligan's conversation with the journalist is a separate scandal. Federal prosecutors cannot discuss grand jury information with the media. This is a serious ethical violation. James's lawyers rightfully say, inexperience is no excuse. You must know the rules from day one. Democrats, of course, didn't miss this situation. Chuck Schumer said, Trump is trying to turn justice into his personal revenge tool. Harvard Law School's Lawrence Tribe commented, this creates a deep separation of powers issue. What happens now? There are 3 scenarios. Judges find Halligan's appointment illegal. Cases are dismissed, too. Cases continue on technical grounds, but Halligan is disqualified. Trump finds new strategies and tries to continue the cases. This event shows how America's checks and balances system works. No matter how powerful Trump is, there are constitutional limits. Federal judges can stop even Trump appointments. This is the strong side of democracy. The implications go far beyond these individual cases. Legal experts are calling this a watershed moment for the independence of the justice system. When a president attempts to weaponize federal prosecutors for personal vendettas, the constitutional framework provides mechanisms to push back. What's particularly striking is how Halligan's inexperience became her downfall. A seasoned prosecutor would have known better than to engage with journalists about ongoing cases. Her signal messages may have violated multiple federal regulations governing prosecutorial conduct. This isn't an isolated incident. Across the country, Trump's interim prosecutor appointments are facing similar challenges. In New Jersey, Alina Habba's appointment was ruled unlawful. In Nevada, the same thing happened with Sigal Chattah. The Earth pattern reveals a systematic attempt to circumvent Senate confirmation. Requirements are a cornerstone of the constitutional appointment process designed to prevent exactly this kind of abuse. The legal precedents being set here could have lasting implications. If courts consistently rule against these questionable appointments, it could strengthen protections against future attempts to politicize the justice system. Samuel Alito's 1986 memo, now being cited by Comey's defense team, shows that even conservative legal minds recognized the importance of these appointment limitations decades ago. The public reaction has been swift and divided. Legal scholars across the political spectrum have expressed concern about the precedent being set. Even some conservative legal experts have questioned the wisdom of these appointments. The signal messaging scandal has particularly captured public attention, with many noting the irony of a prosecutor lecturing a journalist about accuracy while potentially violating federal regulations herself. International observers are watching this constitutional drama unfold with great interest. The integrity of American legal institutions has global implications, and any perception of political weaponization of the justice system affects America's standing on the world stage. Legal experts from other democracies have noted that the constitutional safeguards being tested here are precisely what distinguishes rule of law from authoritarian governance. So what happened? Trump violated laws to get revenge. His appointed prosecutor made major mistakes due to inexperience. Now the entire plan is collapsing. Letitia James and James Comey are very close to escaping their cases by taking advantage of Trump's own mistakes. This story shows us, in a rule of law system, no one is above the law. The desire for revenge requires ignoring legal procedures, and this ultimately backfires. The irony is perfect. Trump's attempt to use the justice system as a weapon against his enemies may end up strengthening the very legal principles he sought to undermine. The constitutional framework, stress-tested by this crisis, may emerge stronger than before.